So I get back from Christmas break, right? My film teacher has a wonderful epiphany. He wants to mess around with Davinci Resolve. Now, Davinci Resolve is Blackmagic's version of an editor, and I had messed around with this a little bit years ago, messing around with the coloring, because it's been the best in coloring for forever. That's what's been known. But so he wanted to switch the entire classroom over from Adobe and Premiere and After Effects and stuff to Resolve. And so in our advanced film class, we were testing this out and learning it together. And so I've been really diving into it and learning it on my own. And I found I liked it a lot better. Just the flow was better. I felt like it was moving faster. But I really didn't know. Was it really better, more efficient, and easier than Premiere? So I had an idea. Actually, Alex had an idea and I stole it from him. But, so today I'm going to be editing this same scene. I'm going to be putting together the same scene from Alone, and I'm going to do it in Premiere. And then I'm gonna go and do it in Davinci, and we're gonna see which is faster and which has the better product. Let's get into it. All right, okay, so starting out, we're gonna be editing this clip in Premiere before we go to Davinci. So I have opened up a project here. Yeah, there's nothing special about creating a new project here, so it's just create the new project. So let me import the media, so it'll do that, and then I have my media imported there. So I'll let that kind of generate before I actually start working with it. Okay, so I have all my media here. I will then merge the clips by their audio. So I'll get all of that there, and then I'll toss them onto the timeline. It'll create that for me, and hopefully it merged correctly. Okay, looks like it did. So yeah, now I'm just going to do that for all of the clips. Alright, okay, so we have all of our clips here. What is annoying is that when you merge it, the audio is just always on that bottom track. So we will have to unlink that and then get rid of those. Then bring those up, and hopefully I didn't adjust anything. Oh. Okay, so now we have our clips. I have to make sure that that's at least at 1/2, because or else it just won't play. Okay, so yeah, let's get through recording. I actually can't hear these. So I'll bring those audio levels up by pressing the whatever button. Except what also sucks here is you can only bring the audio up 15 decibels. You're not, like, you can't bring it up any more than that. In Davinci, you can bring it up, I think, up to like 30 decibels. And so you can actually get some really good audio editing stuff in there. All right. Okay, so now we have our clips all cut up here. So we have one, another one, and this other one. So these three are the same, then that one's just, these three are the same. This one's just another little clip there to tell us, or for another angle of that shot. Okay, so now we're gonna start cutting these up together. Yeah. so now we have our clip kind of cut together. It's probably not going to be the same in Davinci, but you know, because I'm editing 2 different times. Okay, so I have it all there. I think it flows okay. Big thing with this is that you need to make sure that you have constant power on everything, because it'll just make that audio flow nice. Kinda sucks that you can't edit constant power. In Davinci you can, except they call it just cross dissolve, but for audio. And you can actually edit where those levels are and stuff really, really easily. Super nice. I love it. But yeah. Okay, so let's see how that is looking right now. All right, I got that flowing nicely, looking good. Okay, so now, I mean, the audio's fine. It does have quite a bit of noise.
Yeah, are you sure you understand the point of
to it because
project?
I had to add the amplifier to it because it wouldn't like go up high enough. It kind of has not the greatest audio quality, but that is what it is. So, okay, so the next thing we need to do is color, which I'm not actually going to open up the color tab because I want to keep this going. But a big thing that I need for these clips is Lumetri scopes, because that is not Lumetri scopes. Okay, there's Lumetri scopes. So the color, where I could just throw it there and put the scopes here. Would that work? Yeah, that works. I mean, it's kind of small, but okay. So if we look at our scopes here we see there is that little light peeking up there, but more so it's down here that needs color corrected. So we have our basic things here. So exposure wise, we can bring that up quite a bit actually. We can bring it up till about right there. That light is still peaking, but it's probably okay, and if we wanted to, we can make a mask around it, but that gets, yeah. So let's bring that contrast up, but now we have some blacks peaking. I like to bring the blacks down, but I think I'm gonna have to bring them up quite a bit. And whites, I can bring the whites down actually, and that unpeaks that. But okay, highlights we can bring up a little bit, shadows down. Okay, not crazy, but just that little bit. Okay, and then saturation. Oh, the colors. I wish that I could do that for everything but the people, but creating mass and rotoscoping around people in Premiere or After Effects is just so difficult. Like, it just makes it, like, it's not impossible, you know, but it's just, it makes it so annoying and an overarching process that then I have to go into After Effects and do a bunch of stuff too to do that, and it just gets annoying. Okay, so let's see it off and then back on. Okay, I like that. So let's go here into Effect Controls and Control C. Throw that on these clips. And okay, so one thing that I'm noticing is that Alex's face is very overexposed. So for this, I kind of want a mask over his face. So this is not organized, is what it is. Okay, so new item, which I also should not have been color grading on those. It should have been in an adjustment layer, but that's on me. So we're gonna make a new adjustment layer, throw that over top there, and let's make that mask. We have an ellipse mask here, and let's kind of adjust those parameters to kind of fit his face for this. Okay, so we'll do that. I want it to feather a bit more, not a ton, but a bit. Okay, so that mask needs to track forward and backwards. So we'll let that track. How does, oh, that adjustment there. Okay, and then I need it to track back, and we'll see what it does. Maybe this won't work. I'm hoping that it does, but tracking a mask in Premiere and stuff just gets really complicated and weird, and as I learned with GFC, doesn't work how I want it to. Okay, at least it turned with it though. Okay, so that's actually a pretty okay tracking. But in here, what we want to do is bring the exposure down. Not like that, but like, just bring that exposure down a little bit. I guess not the exposure. What the heck? Let's see. Highlights maybe? Turn that off. Yeah, it's the highlights. So now his face looks a lot better with the mask than without. So his face isn't like weirdly peeking. But now what I need to do, or now what we need to do, is take this and copy it onto every single one. Not that. And copy it onto every single one that has Alex's face. Get rid of all of the tracking data, and let's see that mask. So after playing around with some of this, or after playing around with this shot and this shot, there was too much head movement to have it tracked without going into After Effects. Meaning, like, so here, like, his head goes down and then it just gets caught on the shoulder, and like, and it's just, there's this weird thing that it's just right here at the beginning, like my face that's there is just in the way too much or whatever, and so it really just, it didn't work. And so so this one and this one, I was not able to put a mask on to actually make it look better, like I was able to here, because see, when we take that off, it's so much better. Yeah, so, you know, we have our sequence there. Not as good as I would hope it would be, but we have our sequence now. But now what we need to do is I need to take it into the export page. So I will let that load. And now we have our export page here. Yeah, can I turn on captions? What does that, is that, oh, we want to Okay, I can't turn on captions. See, here I can tell that they're kind of trying to do something like they did in Resolve. I prefer Resolve. And what's cool about in Davinci is that you can export individual clips, not just this. So it's like maybe you had something, but you wanted to send an individual clip to someone, right? Or maybe you wanted to post a clip of something, you know, and you can't really do that. And even here, you don't have as many options, and so they say send to media encoder to finish it. Well, in Resolve, you don't need to. So let's change our name here. I should have done that earlier. That's bad organization on my part. We will call this okay, we'll search for a place to put it, or we'll put it where we're gonna put it. All right, okay, so now it's kind of there, everything's set, and we will export. And now this is the part that takes so long. Premiere's exporting is insanely long, because it's like, oh, okay, even if like editing wise it took the exact same amount of time, you also have to look at literally it will take longer, because ultimately in this editing time I was able to edit faster here in Premiere, partly because of experience, also because I wasn't able to do as cool of things. I was not able to get done, like I was in Davinci, I was able to do masks on all of the faces, all of like everything, and I was able to do that. I was able to do some pretty in-depth audio editing that took like 10 seconds, and I was able to create a better product from it. And yet, I was able to do that. Okay, that took me, what, a couple minutes longer to actually edit. This didn't take me as long to edit, but the exporting time, it took 1 minute and 3 seconds to export the last one. We've already almost hit the minute mark, and we're only 38% done exporting this out of Premiere. Like, it's insane. And of course I didn't render it, but rendering it just adds more time. Like, it just doubles that time frame. Boom. All right, we now have the video exported successfully. So we are now done editing here in Premiere. And so now what we're going to do is head over into Davinci to see, to compare and contrast these two editing softwares. Let's head over there. All right, so after that whole Premiere, we are now opening up Davinci Resolve. So already we open it up and we have this whole project database, which you can create different databases. I have one on my Incident Films hard drive for just some different stuff so far. And so I have all those projects that are separated into folders, and yeah, just other stuff like that. But for this one, I want to just go here to my local database. See, but it's kind of cool. You can scroll through the timelines and just different stuff like that. But I'm going to create a new project. I'm going to title this Davinci. No, I'm just going to title this Battle and create. All right, so already we've opened up here the media tab, and yeah, so that's there. I personally don't need the audio there. Metadata I do like. Okay, so in Davinci, the cool thing about it is that it has everything in one place, meaning that like it has so the importer and everything, then the editor, but that's like Premiere. Then Fusion is like After Effects. Then they have, I mean, DaVinci's been the best in color for forever. Then Fairlight is like Audition, and then you have literally Media Encoder and Deliver. So it's literally a 4-in-1 or a 3, I don't know. But yeah, super cool. So here we're gonna go and we are going to take some files from here. I want to go, and what's also cool is it sorts through all of the folders and everything on your computer here. There are some different things if you have some non-mounted hard drive stuff, but it's super easy to get around some of this stuff. But yeah, so we're gonna take that same media that we did before, and we're going to put together the project, or like just this quick little scene from Alone in here. So now you can see we still have access to all of our folders and everything here, and you can do that, but now we have all of this stuff here. What's super cool about this, and why I also am now thinking I may not even want to organize my footage beforehand, is if I click on it, it opens up this metadata, which I actually want to have here, to where you can put all of this freaking, you nerd out over it a ton. Description, comments. The biggest thing is keywords, meaning I could enter the keyword video or something like that. And then later in the edit page, I can filter by keywords, and just things with that keyword will come up, which is super cool. But another really cool thing that I like is that you can change the color of the clips. So what this means is like I can change that clip color to orange, and it'll mark it as orange over here. And then what it will do is in the edit page, when I toss it into the timeline, it'll be that color. So I can color code my footage and my audio, which I actually want both of those to be orange. And then apply. And then both of those will make them green. And then the next shot will make them pink. And you can also flag them, and you can really nerd out over the metadata stuff, which is super cool. Okay, so here we are in the edit page. We have most of the time I have dual screen stuff, so it'll take me a minute to get used to this. But so we have our screen. We can have 2 monitors. I don't like that because you can also have like source media up on one and then your timeline up on another, which can be nice. One thing that is a downfall of DaVinci is you can't really change your workspace. You can like adjust like the sizing and stuff. You can also, this one's really cool, is once you get clips in there, you can adjust the, like here, let me toss a clip in there real quick. If you do that, you can adjust like where those are, and stuff like that. But yeah, so there's a lot of different things, and so you can't do that, but you can bring up different tabs. So they have their effects tab with their transitions, DaVinci Resolve transitions are actually really good. Like Premiere's are not wonderful. Then they have audio crossfades, titles, some other generators. Oh my gosh, they had a generator. I was looking for that earlier. Then they have effects, some of that stuff. Then they have some fusion stuff that's really cool. Then some audio things as well. So we have all those. You can also get your index, sound library, different stuff like that. But first of all, we want to link up our clips. So we're gonna click on those and then click relink proxy media, which I don't think, or nope, that's not right. Then we're going to say auto sync auto, which I don't know if you guys can see this. And then I'll say based on waveform. It'll analyze it, and you may be like, well, nothing happened. But what's super nice about this is I now throw in this clip, and instead of having the original audio, it just brings on that other audio track right here. It's super, super nice, and it saves a lot of time in the fact that I don't have to go through and unlink all of them and hook it back up and other things like that. So already we're looking at this scene, or this shot, right? And I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I'm gonna get ahead of myself. So one super nice thing that I can do right off the bat is I notice that the audio levels are super low. Boom. Now I just raise them, I just raise them and now they're good. Like I literally am just able to see that and do that super quick, which like in Premiere, I would have to take it, go into the audio thing and then do some other things with it to play around with it. Now I know that audio is good, period, which is super, super nice. Yeah, so I'm just gonna sync the rest and throw them onto the timeline. And if you notice, see, they're different colors. These and so it can kind of just organize your timeline even more by having these clips be different colors. Like, it's incredible. Like, I love it. I absolutely, absolutely love that. Because it's just made it so my workflow is just so much better. I've just been able to see things better in there. So I'm just gonna raise those audio levels so I can actually hear them just a little bit, and I can always change that later, of course, but I'm just gonna change those. Oh, I also want to make sure I have up Inspector. So this is like the effects panel in Premiere, that it has everything, but what's kind of cool is they already have some effects on there. Like, it already has cropping on there automatically. It already has dynamic zoom, composite speed change is right there. Stabilization, you can stabilize your footage right then and there. Lens correction, just some other really cool things. And then you can go to audio, and once you throw on effects, you can go into effects and some other cool things as well. So it's just super, super nice. So let's get into actually editing this. Up to a higher level, so because here I like to organize my clips. I don't even know why I do it, but like there's the few at the top and then there's the few at the bottom, and so it's nicer to see like that. Okay, so we're going to delete those. Awesome. So now we have our little timeline of clips. Now the clips itself aren't going to require a ton of like heavy effects and things like that, but our audio is what's going to need the most editing. So I'm going to unlink these, link them all, and then unlink them so I can take all of the audio, just move it up, and then I'll link them again. Which, I mean, I guess can be annoying, but as I've been using it, when they're linked and they separate in clips together, Adobe doesn't do that, where like if I bring that up, that one will go down one. Like, Adobe doesn't do that anymore. They used to, but they don't anymore, and it's kind of annoying because if you want to raise a clip and bring it like over top of something, it just doesn't work, which is annoying. So let's see. So yeah, our audio levels, we actually got them pretty okay. This isn't a big enough screen for the mixer. Okay, so because we really can't see those audio levels like I'd like. If we will go into Fairlight, I'm thinking let's maybe save the audio editing for Fairlight. And we'll do that. The biggest thing though that I know is that I want a crossfade on everyone. I do this even in Premiere. You want that constant power, or in this case, the crossfade in every single clip, just because it makes it sound better. But right now it may not sound as good, just I know that we're gonna want that. Also, okay, so I wish I could show you like more of Resolve, but really we don't need to do too much more in these clips, and we don't need to go to Fusion. So now we're gonna head right over into that color page to get these colored. So here we are in the color page here in Davinci Resolve. And this has been known for forever. Davinci Resolve's color page, or like Davinci Resolve's coloring, is extremely, extremely better than every single other colorer. That's just the truth. Like there is not a color better than Davinci Resolve that's free. Like everything is free in here. That is what is crazy to me, that all of this is free. All right, okay. So what I want to do first is I want to click Alt SS, so then I have a couple different layers. If you don't know how nodes work, basically, this is your starting clip. This is what's coming out. This is what is in the middle. That made no sense. Well, figure it out in your own time, because I don't get it either. So, okay, so right here we're just gonna adjust the curves, which is more so the exposure in different areas. So those are kind of the midtones. And then we have our highlights here, which we can adjust up and down, or add things there, which I actually do want to bring that up a little bit and bring down those shadows. So I'm adjusting the exposure there and then here. And I like to do like a different thing on every single one, because it just like, it's just more organized in my brain. So then here, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna adjust these other little things: temperature, tint, contrast, pivot, detail, shadow, highlights, saturation, hue, stuff like that. So first, I kind of want to bring that contrast up, make it look a little more natural and nice, and then bring up that saturation, and let's look at it from where it was to where it is now. Already, that's a lot better. But now I'm gonna go here and adjust kind of these curves. And yeah, so let's see, because down here we have our exposure wheels that'll adjust, like that's the overall exposure, or we have the exposure in the brighter areas, and then we have the exposure in the lower light areas, or no, and this is the exposure in the lower light areas. I don't even know what lift is. I think it just lifts the whole image. I'm not sure. But I do know that in the lower light areas, I want to bring down that exposure just a little bit. And I don't really care to adjust the colors too much, but let's set these to a more blue. But I like changing the tint here, because when I'm doing something in Premiere, I never adjust the temperature or the tint, ever. It's just, you don't do it. You don't do it, you know? And so, like, you don't do it because it's just too much. Resolve is a lot better at making it look good, even when it's a lot. And so, like, already there is a beautiful image. If we scrub through our clip, like, it's really good. Other than Alex's face is a little bright in this. So I want to switch to this other clip that doesn't have anything, and I'm going to make a mask. So I just want an ellipse, and I'm gonna put it around his head. Get that in there. And kind of just have it be around his face like that. So now I already have a mask. Like if you look over here, you can't really see it, but there is just a little circle, and that is all that we are editing right now is inside of that mask. And we can also adjust that feather. There's the feathering in there. But yeah, so basically we have our mask set. What I want is I want to bring those exposure levels down like that. Already look how much prettier that is. If we turn it off compared to with it on, like it's already just so much prettier. You can see his face. The exposure levels are a little low, but you can see his face so much better. But you may be like, well, doesn't he move? Because right now he's moving. Like, what the heck, right? Well, I mean, he doesn't move too much, but what's super, super cool is here, they have a tracker, and I can click track forward and back, and they track it. It has like a bazillion different points, and it's literally tracking in 3D his face. And so now it is 100% set. It is perfect. So now when we look at our final image compared to where it was, we got a really nice image. What's even cooler about that is if we right click and we can click grab still, and we have it saved. So if I go to these other shots, like right here, the same angle, I can toss that in there. But then this one, it will delete all that tracking data. I'll match that up on his face, and I'll click track forward and back. So then it's tracking his face, and it does it super fast, and it does it super efficiently. It's 3D tracking. It's amazing, and all of this is free too. That's what's incredible. So we're looking at that. Wonderful. Took about 30 seconds. For just some of these really advanced editing things that would take, okay, now you have to go into After Effects and do some intense tracking there and things like that. It's literally all right here, and it's taking like, see, look at that. It literally goes 3D on his face. That is how amazing this tracker is. Like, I want to look at that again. Like, it literally follows his face 3D'd. That is way cool. Sorry, I'm even like, I love that so much. So I'm gonna toss this same one on there again, track it again, and then I'm gonna do that for the other clip that's close up of him. Okay, so if you notice, we had a little hiccup there. I'm curious if you notice. Yeah, you notice. Because then all of a sudden there's just this little halo around him. Okay, if we just get rid of that node, his face is overexposed here, but I don't want to take too long in editing this. I think it'll be fine. You can't tell a huge difference in between that and that, so I think it'll be okay. So now let's go here. I want to bring the same thing on, except this time we're going to have to, since it's a little bigger, we're going to have to size it up on Alex's face. So let's make sure it's still doing something. Yeah, it definitely is. I absolutely love that, because it's something that's super, and you could like completely change the color in there too, and just do little things like that. But like, the tracking was so nice, so easy. It's great. Okay, so now we're gonna throw one on in here, but we don't need that node anymore because it's just his face. Because really, it's the same lighting every time. It's just without that mask, because Alex's face isn't in there. So we'll toss that on and get rid of that mask. And it's still such a pretty image compared to where it originally was to what it is now. So pretty, so nice. Okay, so now we are here in Fairlight, and I'm not gonna get too in depth. I actually haven't really played around with Fairlight. I don't know what Fairlight does a ton. All I know is that if I double click there, I can make it, I can do some auto equalizer stuff that'll kind of make it sound a little better. and then, so this is like Adobe Audition. I just haven't played around with it enough. But the really cool things that I know is that you can get really in depth with this audio editing. So here is my constant gain. So this is what like transfers around that. Like this is what makes the morphs those to sound good.
The project?
Yes, I get it.
See, but like here, what I can do is I can adjust those levels right then and there, and you can see it. And you can adjust where it's doing that with this little line, or like with this little ball. Like it's crazy, crazy, crazy how it's doing that. I actually am gonna make this a lot shorter on that scale.
I get it. I'll be completely
See,
alone.
And that's way better. And it literally was just as simple as
alone.
as like I just moved the ball, made it sound a little better, and that's it. Instead of having to then, because in Premiere, once you put that effect on there, you're stuck with it. You can't do anything. You can't adjust it. This one, you can adjust it, and you can like, because I mean, in Premiere you can adjust like the actual length of it, but you can't really adjust those levels or anything at all. It just kind of does it for you, you know.
You'll be denied access to.
Fine, it just, this is better, and it doesn't take a lot of time either.
When do I get paid?
Right there. I needed to raise that up a little bit.
When do I get paid?
See, and it's something super simple, but it just helps so much. Because like when if you notice, the audio levels here compared to here are a little bit lower. So just raising it a tiny bit, so then when it's crossfading, it raises its volume a little bit here. It just blends so much better. But it's something super tiny and small like that. It's like, dang. And then you can do some really cool things with blending music and things like that that just make it flow so much better. And boom, that was like literally 3 minutes that I was then able to edit that audio, and it sounds amazing now. Way better than it ever did. And we can even go into the audio effects, and they have those transitions, but then they have those effects that you can throw on there. The pitch, reverb, clipper, all sorts of different things, denoisers, things like that. I haven't played around with that stuff too much yet, but yeah, this, wonderful. So this is now the deliver page. This is where you deliver it. But first I kind of wanted to watch through our project real quick and just to make sure that it's looking good. I also wanted to note that in here, this playback has been full resolution the entire time. Really, what Davinci does a really good job at making sure that it keeps everything, like it uses your computing power very well. My computer does not work well with Premiere. I end up sitting there while it's rendering for forever. You can choose, it doesn't naturally render. You can choose for it to render, but most of the time it doesn't need to. And then you can also change that resolution too. But let's just watch this forward to make sure it looks good. All right.
Are you sure you understand?
That is looking good. So basically, I'm now going to title this Davinci Attack. That is not spelled. What the heck? Well, there is 2 T's. Okay, then I'm gonna pick a location. And I can change that from QuickTime to MP4. Add to render queue. It's right there in the render queue, and I click render all. And then it renders it. And it actually doesn't ever take as long as exporting does. in Premiere. Premiere's insane at its exporting. It sometimes takes long, or it takes like the same amount as the video, you know, but it's not ever as surprisingly long as Premiere was ever. Yeah, because it's already moving through. It's already like almost halfway through, and it's already there. Like, it's crazy. And boom, that was completed in 1 minute and 3 seconds. How long is this? This is 58 seconds. So it went like literally 4 seconds over the actual clip time in editing this, which is crazy. And now our project is complete, and all of our editing is completely done now. So now let's watch both of the clips, the one from Davinci and the one from Davinci and the one from Premiere, and let's see which looks better, along with how long it took to make it.
Are you sure you understand the point of the project?
Yes, I get it. I'll be completely alone.
No. Well, yes. You're going to be in complete isolation for the next 2 months. You're denied access to a TV, internet, and a car. Well, you will have a car in case of absolute emergency, but you're required not to use it. Understand?
When do I get paid?
At the end of the 2 months.
Okay, I'll do it.
Awesome. Okay, I'm going to need you to sign these papers to make sure that this is all out of your own free will and you cannot sue us. Is there anybody you'd like to say goodbye to first?
Not anymore.
Are you sure you understand the point of the project?
Yes, I get it. I'll be completely alone.
No. Well, yes. You're going to be in complete isolation for the next 2 months. You'll be denied access to a car, TV, and internet. Well, you will have a car in case of absolute emergency, but you're required not to use it. Understand?
When do I get paid?
At the end of the 2 months.
Okay, I'll do it.
Awesome. Okay, I'm going to need you to sign these papers to make sure that this is all out of your own free will, and you cannot sue us. Okay. Is there anybody you'd like to say goodbye to first?
Not anymore.
Alright, so the most surprising thing happened. It took me the exact same amount of time, give or take seconds, to edit in Davinci compared to Premiere. It was 35 minutes to edit this scene in both softwares. That's including the export time and organization and stuff too. I do think it was a tiny bit faster in Davinci because I was sitting there and explaining and talking about certain things, while in Premiere I didn't talk as much, but give or take, it was roughly about 35 minutes in both. So if they're both if they both took the same amount of time, how do we know which is better? Now, because I didn't actually end up clipping together the exact same scene, I switched a few different shots around, but in general it was the same thing, and the product from Davinci was better. Well, maybe it wasn't. You can tell me if you think it's different, but really, Davinci was able to do a lot more than Premiere was, and in that same time frame too, because I was able to extensively edit those audio clips, and it literally took a couple seconds of just sliding the sliders and then taking those transitions in between the audio and just adjusting them really quick to match those audio levels, so it's just it was just a lot more smooth than it was in Premiere. And along with that, I was also able to have better audio quality because I didn't have to apply an amplify effect like I had to do in Premiere. And there was just a few little things that with that audio editing in Premiere compared to DaVinci was all right there. I was able to easily see it and everything. In Premiere, I couldn't see it. I had to apply a bunch of different effects and do this and this and this, and it was just a lot of extra steps. Then we look at the video side. Cutting it together, I like the flow of DaVinci better. My all-time favorite thing is that all of their automated keyboard shortcuts are on the right-hand side, which is here. So all of their keyboard shortcuts are on the right-hand side, meaning you can have one hand on the mouse at all times, and your other hand, they're doing all of those keyboard shortcuts, and it just works so much smoother, rather than in Premiere, all of those shortcuts, it's back and forth and back and okay, here, and it takes a little bit longer. With the video, well, specifically the coloring, DaVinci's tracker for their masks are insane. Like, it literally tracked it 3D, it was so short, it was all this stuff that it did it better than Premiere. Premiere couldn't even do it on the same clips that DaVinci could because there's too much movement. It just couldn't track it, or it got lost, or things like that. Another thing that DaVinci had over Premiere was the export time. It took about 4 minutes to export the video out of Premiere. It took 1 minute to export it out of DaVinci. And what's funnier is the DaVinci clip, or like that, the DaVinci Attack version was longer than the Premiere version, but the Premiere version took 4 times as long to export. Crazy. So if we're looking at which is better, DaVinci or Premiere, I came into this a little biased, of course, but I still went into both and edited and tried to make the best quality product I could. DaVinci just won. That's the facts. In the time frame, they were about the same. But in the product, I was able to get more out of the same time in DaVinci than I did in Premiere. Therefore, some of the little reasons as to why I am switching to Davinci Resolve.